Hi Lisa, I recently watched one of your video clips in which you were speaking to someone about letting go of ideas of right or wrong, making mistakes and wanting to know and understand. You said that when that dies down, then there is a strength in what you are now, and that we can then allow that to speak more. You spoke about being truthful to this moment, and that the stillness of that concepts of right and wrong appear is the deep rest that we are trying to find through its concepts. Can you speak about the strength you spoke about? I'll just answer that first before I read on to your question. So I like how you phrase it. I normally phrase it differently, so it's nice hearing it phrased and interpreted by someone else. So we have concepts in our society of right and wrong, which are changing, particularly changing with the evolution of the internet. But like 100 years ago, it was wrong for a woman to have a baby outside of wedlock, whereas now in Western societies, it's seen as wrong for somebody to criticize a woman that has a baby outside of wedlock. So, our society changes what's right and wrong. It's not a fixed thing like murder is wrong and giving to other people is right. That's just what our society comes up with and the way that humans choose to live. And I'm not going against that and saying it's okay to do bad things. That's often a misinterpretation. But these are concepts, and it's not that we have to get rid of our concepts and live without concepts. It's finding that place, like you say, of what you are beyond them. When you're really attached to right and wrong, it's like you're so focused in the story of you and what's right and wrong, then there can't be a hearing of this place that's beyond. If you're in your mind, then how can you know of this I am, which is in between the no thing and the everything? This I am and this empty looking consciousness, which is the portal in between nothing and everything. If you're stuck in stories of what's right and wrong and what you should do and shouldn't do, then that's completely out of focus. It's hidden. So it's not that you have to give up the ideas of right and wrong. Everybody, including people that have had awakenings and not, is going to have different interpretations of what's right and wrong. It's not giving up your beliefs. I used to think that, and for a period, I tried to go beyond these things and gave up too much and made mistakes and messed up and did things that were immoral and then tried to be moral. Made mistakes with that because I was exploring, and that's fine to explore. That's part of this. But it's not that you have to go beyond it. Like, to me, it's wrong to hurt somebody. Like, hurt somebody unnecessarily, like physically or something. But that's really huge. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean like hurting someone might saying no to someone? So, that's all down to person interpretation. But it's the attachment to that, the belief that you are found, that you are a good person and you must do good things to people. So what is it that's beyond that? What is that appearing in? What is it that doesn't change? And this is your authentic self. Like, what is your authentic self that's always here? And it's remembering that. It's this energetic shift back to that, so that the thoughts of right and wrong, the thoughts of the character, the personal awareness arise in that. But there isn't a holding on to that. That isn't a definition of who you are. The definition of who you are is what you've always been, what's here prior to birth and after death. And it's no thing and everything. It's not contained inside the body or outside of the body. But yet, a way in which we can point to it is saying the I am, which is in the heart, and the empty looking, the consciousness. But they aren't really in the body. They're seemingly in the body and they're everywhere. It's like the body is a place in between. I mean, my words fail it. I have heard, this is more questions from Doug, I have heard teachings about how the mind is continuously monitoring the body, and when the mind senses the body as disturbed, it then begins thinking of how it can address the disturbance. The agitation of the body agitates the mind. If you calm the body, will that help to calm the mind? Okay, I'll just answer that question. Yeah, I think most probably calming the body will help calm the mind. But it's not about having a calm body or mind. It's just that when they're really disturbed, they feel the screen, you know, they take all the attention. So it's not about not having problems. It's what is that space when the body is disturbed, when the mind is disturbed, what is always here that never leaves. But when they're really disturbed and really heightened, then the focus is on that. So I am. So go back to the initial sense of being, that place in between nothing and everything. And you'll find out it's a place and it's no place. It's seemingly in the heart and yet it's not. The same with the empty looking. The empty looking is seemingly behind the eyes, but yet it's not. It's everywhere. Is it also true that through a deep acceptance of whatever state the body is in, that strength and rest can be realized? Yeah, I mean, what keeps the narration of you going is the seeking. So deep acceptance is the opposite to the seeking, is to feel the pain, is to see the disturbance and not try to resolve it in the flow, but to deeply accept what's happening. So it's like the opposite of momentum. So you could say, rather than it being an activity, it's a non-activity. And normally the activity is seeking out there to try to get rid of it. So deep acceptance is a non-activity. But that doesn't mean sitting still either. It's a non-activity. Even sitting still is an activity, or meditating is an activity. For example, if the body the body is feeling anxious, but it cannot be, but it is not contracted, or seeking arises like an urge of wanting a cookie, but there isn't a contraction encapsulating the urge. Yeah, so wanting a cookie is not necessarily seeking. That's a difference of distinction. You know, wanting a cookie, it can be a natural desire. Going to the toilet, a natural desire. Feeling anxious can be a natural desire. Not a natural desire, but a natural phenomena appearing. Yeah, and you can have all these experiences and not be contracted. And you can be free. Wanting can still arise, but not seeking. Like, just because that's my definition, seeking is the belief that freedom is found in your wants. So it's not having the wants, it's the belief that if I have the cookie, then I will not be contracted. It's the end of that, but it doesn't mean it's the end of desiring the cookie. It's the cookie is simply pleasure that will last for 10 seconds, or 3 seconds if it's me. You have used the palms of your hands touching to illustrate consciousness being identified with the human character. You then pull your hands apart to illustrate a disidentification of consciousness from the human character. Since one of the ways the feeling of being the human character is through a contracted feeling in the body, if a person becomes aware of the contracted feeling in the body and the body then relaxes, is that an experience of pulling the palms, the hands apart? I don't know. I can't be inside your experience and diagnose it. You know, I could say yes, but I don't know what that is. It's so hard. When I become aware that my body is contracted, that seems to be all it takes for a shift to occur. Thinking stops, the palms separate, the heavy energy of identification dissipates, and there is freedom. You said in your recent live stream about Nisargadatta that after a person drops down into the body, that there can be then a shift to nobody, and then, for example, there is still fear, but it isn't your fear. Is what I've described with the contraction in the body, well, not permanent, the shift you're speaking of? I don't know, I can't go into your experience. You know, this is too much to ask me. You know, have confidence in your own experience, in your own interpretation. You know, find that out for yourself. Who is the one that's asking the question? And who wants to know the answer to that? Your fellow human being, Doug. Fellow human being. I see God in you. Namaste. That's so nice, isn't it? That feeling. Namaste. Yeah, thank you for your questions, Doug.